Hitting the track soon, but feeling a bit overwhelmed with what you need to pack? Don't worry, I've got you covered. This week, I'm talking about putting together a list of everything you need to pack so you have a successful day at your next event. Let's throw the green flag on this episode. As I mentioned, I'm going to cover the essentials you need to pack to make sure that you have a stress-free and successful event. Doesn't matter if it's autocross, track day, wheel-to-wheel racing, all of this applies. When you put the helmet on at your event, you don't want to have to worry about anything, that something's missing or something's not right. We're going to get you 100% focused so that that's what you're going to be on, focused on driving. Also, at the end of this episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I learned at a wet practice day. It's really important. There's big takeaways. If you're an experienced racer, you probably already have a list of what you need to pack, but this might serve as a good reminder of things you maybe have forgotten about. If you are new to motorsports, this is a must listen to episode because I'm going to cover, again, everything that makes the day better. Before we start packing, we need a plan. This happens when you are registering for the event. Once you hit the submit button on that registration, now is the time to start thinking about that list. Do you have a list? Let's make a list. Go through the list. But most importantly, put a date on the calendar when you're going to start packing, when you're going to go through everything. And why is that important? Well, let's say that you realize that your helmet's out of date. We're going to talk about that. How about if your numbers need to be updated or there's some things you need to order? You have to have enough time to order them and have them delivered and get them set up. Don't wait till the last week. Don't wait till the last day. Plan in plenty of time. So let's start talking about this packing list and what you need to take for a stress-free event. Item number one, let's talk about driving gear. A proper helmet. If you're doing autocross, track days, time trials racing, you need a helmet that is in good shape and meets current specifications. Check whatever event you're running, whatever group you're running with, check what the requirements are. Make sure your helmet meets those specifications. If it doesn't, get a helmet. Call the friends at Track First. They'll get you all hooked up. Here's a funny one, though. Does that helmet smell? When was the last time you took it out of your bag? Make sure that when you put that helmet on, it doesn't have some weird odor, and you can buy chemicals to clean that up. Make sure your visor looks good. It's clean. It's not cracked. Pack some driving gloves. Now, this is a preference. Now, if you're endurance racing or wheel-to-wheel racing, gloves are a must. Got to have fireproof gloves. If you're doing an autocross or track day or time trial for that matter, gloves are a personal preference. Maybe you want to wear it for comfort or grip. Maybe you don't want to wear it at all, but might be something you want to think about putting in your pack to take. Comfortable driving shoes. So a lot of folks like to wear a specific driving shoe during an event. A lot of times it has a stiffer sole, so you have better pedal feel. But I'm going to say, if you are taking racing shoes, pack another pair of shoes. Here's why. When you arrive to the event in the morning, guess what? That grass is always wet. The last thing you want to do is soak your driving shoes because you wore them to the event. You don't want slippery shoes on your pedals. You don't want wet feet. Bring another pair of shoes or even sandals or flip-flops for that matter to make sure that you're going to be comfortable all day long. Number two, let's talk about a toolkit and a supply kit and a spare kit. You need a good set of tools. Now, I'm not talking about dragging your entire toolbox to the event, but pick up a small tool set. And you can buy these at Harbor Freight for as low as $40 or about $200 at a Home Depot or a parts store. And what they are, it's about $150-piece toolkit. And it's in a black molded case. It's got everything you need. It's got screwdrivers, sockets, wrenches. Sometimes it'll come with a small hammer. That's all you need for a track event or autocross. You definitely want to have that. Let's talk about spare fluids. You need to take some motor oil. You should take some engine coolant. If your car has power steering and it's a hydraulic system, it uses fluid, take that. Take glass cleaner, take some microfibers, bug and tar removal products. You're going to want all of those there and some paper towels and some microfibers. You might be surprised if you haven't been in the sport very long how dirty your car gets. And the last thing you want is a dirty windshield. So take those items and you're going to be covered for the event. Also take a funnel. That's one thing that I get asked all the time when I'm at an event. May I borrow a funnel? Because people forget to do that. You don't want to be spilling chemicals all over your engine. And then what you're going to want to do is put all of that into a kit, small tote, and that way it's always ready to go. Let's talk about spares. Now, for most autocross events or track days, it's unlikely you're going to take a bunch of spares with you. But if you're racing endurance racing or even sprint racing for that matter, take some spares. What breaks on a regular basis? What do you know wears out that you need to have with you? But going back to the autocross or track day, what if you know that your cooling fan always blows a fuse when it gets hot at the end of the day? Take those spare fuses. Think about what you replace on a regular basis. Make sure you have that in your spares kit. You're going to want a quality tire pressure gauge. It's very important to have that. You want it to where it can measure in 1 pound increments. You don't want to go buy one that goes, 5, 10, 15. Get one that goes 1 pound increments, because you're going to be working with your tire pressures throughout the day. And you're going to want a good tire inflator as well. My personal favorite is the M12 from Milwaukee. You'll find out you're going to use it at home as well for under $200, I think it is. You get the tool, you get the battery, and you get the charger. It's well worth it, because the last thing you want to do is show up to an event and find out that there's no air compressor on site. Other people may have forgotten theirs. Be prepared, because you're going to, again, be adjusting those tire pressures up and down. So good quality tire pressure gauge allows you to release the air out of the tire and set the tire pressure. But if you got to put more in, you're going to want that tire inflator there. One thing that's always good to have in your kit is tape. I'm talking blue painter's tape, black electrical tape, and regular duct tape. Hopefully you don't need duct tape to hold things together after an on-track incident, but painter's tape comes in handy. Sometimes you want to put painter's tape over your headlights to keep them from cracking if a stone were to get tossed up by another car. But also, if you forget your numbers, or the event organizer says, hey, you got to have numbers on your car, this is where the painter's tape definitely comes in. And if you have the room, take a jack and jack stands. Hopefully you don't need to use it, but it's always good to have that just in case you need to check something under the car, or remove a wheel, or even rotate your tires at the event. And lastly, you're going to want a good torque wrench. Reason being, you should be torquing your lug nuts throughout the day, to at least checking them. They will heat and expand during the day. You're going to talk to anyone that's done track days and motorsports events. They can loosen up. And the last thing you want to do is have one that's over tight or have one that's loose. A torque wrench and know your torque specs before you get to the track is a must-have. And again, I talk about totes all the time. You can put these items in multiple totes. You can have one tote. Whatever makes it easy and stress-free for you is what you're going to want to do. All right. The third category I want to talk about is food and staying hydrated. You're going to burn more calories than you can ever imagine at a track day. You're going to have a lot of thirst going on as well. You want to stay hydrated. So my recommendation is pack a cooler with some waters, maybe some sports drinks that are high in electrolytes. I'm not a pop drinker, but if you are, maybe you throw a couple sodas in there and then ice it down. Make sure it's nice and cool so that you can refresh yourself in between sessions, and especially during the lunch break. You want to put some snacks in there too. Put some protein bars, maybe some meat sticks so you can get some protein during the day, some fruits and veggies. And then I always put pretzels in my track snack bag. I don't know why, but that's really easy to eat as you're kind of going around your car. And you never want to rely on the concession stand at the event. I've been to events where it was promised that there would be either a food truck or on-site concessions, and guess what? There weren't. And I don't like to leave the event at lunchtime. I like to stay there so that I can work on my car, or I can meet other competitors and talk about our great industry. Be prepared. And if you've seen me at the track, you always know I always pack a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's my go-to. It's easy. It's delicious. It stores well during the day. Make sure you're taking something to eat during the day just so you can stay hydrated and fueled. You fueled your car, you should be fueling yourself as well. Category number 4, comfort and convenience. This is a big one. You want to make sure that you're really enjoying the day. Take a comfortable chair. There's not going to be any place to sit, for sure. And you don't want to have to walk over to the pit wall just to find a place to sit, even if you're allowed to sit over in that area. I call them camping chairs. These are the foldable chairs that go in a bag. I have one that's my go-to track. It fits into every car that I've ever taken to the track. It's comfy. It's predictable. If somehow it gets lost or forgotten, it's not the end of the world. It's my go-to chair. Make sure you take one. You're going to want sunscreen and a hat and certainly sunglasses too. I mentioned earlier about people always asking for a funnel. There's another thing I always get asked for, sunscreen and Advil. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Yeah, make sure you're taking some sunscreen because hopefully the sun's out, and the last thing you want to do, though, is burn. And that's where a hat and sunglasses come in as well. If you're outside all day, probably not in a lot of shade. The last thing you want is a sun-induced headache to put a damper on your day. So a hat will help protect your head and your face from the sun as well as your eyes. Sunglasses will help too. I mentioned Advil or some sort of pain relief. You're out, I don't know why, but it always seems someone's looking for some Tylenol or Advil when I'm at an event. I should probably start packaging and selling it, right? Make sure you take some because maybe you have a headache just from the night before. Maybe you have a headache because of the sun. Maybe your muscles ache a little bit. Be prepared. Have that in your pack. I like to bring a small tarp and blanket to a track day. Reason being is if it's going to be wet, rainy, I want a tarp to protect my items because when your car's on track or competing, your stuff is not in the car. It's back in the paddock. A blanket too, just to cover things up, or if it gets chilly, you got something to cover yourself up with as well. Now, even when I would take a Miata to track days, I would always take a big sports umbrella. You've probably seen these at the beaches or at some soccer games. It's a large, oversized umbrella that kind of secures to the ground. 2 people can sit under it comfortably. For me, that was always a great place to kind of claim my spot in the paddock, put all of my tools and accessories and gear underneath that. I have shade that way if it's sunny. If it's raining, I got a place to kind of hang out and not get wet. I always enjoy having that at the track. Remember the extra shoes I mentioned? I also recommend for comfort a spare shirt. If it's a warm day, you're probably going to get a little sweaty. You don't want to drive home in a sweaty shirt. So take an extra shirt. And you might want to check with the event organizer. Some events require you to wear a long sleeve t-shirt. Last thing you want to show up is something, the short sleeve. So you might want to take a long sleeve just in case. And then depending upon the forecast, I always like to pack a rain jacket or a hoodie, sweatshirt, just to stay warm. You don't want to be shivering during an event. Category number 5 of what you need to pack for a successful track day are your electronics. You need to be doing some sort of data acquisition, whether it's a free app on your phone, whether it is a Garmin Catalyst or an AIM device or an Apex Pro. Make sure your device is charged, make sure the software is up to date, and make sure it is packed. If you need chargers or adapters, suction cup mounts, make sure those are in your kit. Maybe you run a GoPro, make sure the SD card's ready to go, make sure it's charged, make sure you have all your mounts, but make sure that stuff is packed. I like to have a little separate tote for just those items. That way, it's always there. Your cords are always there, your mounts are always there. There's no question where that stuff is. And then category number 6, I'll just throw in there is everything else. So this goes from having a notebook and pen. You ought to be recording at the end of your day and at the end of each session your notes. What worked? What didn't? What do you need to buy that you forgot to bring to the event? Is there some follow-up items you need to work on? Did you meet somebody and jot down a phone number to follow up with them? That's a great idea of why having a notebook or pen at an event is great. Sometimes cell coverage isn't great. And if you're trying to connect with someone on social media, you might not be able to pull up that and find them. So jotting it down is a great idea. You might have to bring a text sheet. So just about every event you go to, there's going to be a text sheet that you need to have filled out. Make sure that is with you. Some events are cash only. When I give presentations at some events, I always talk about this. There was a cash only event I did, and the guy paddock next to me did not have any cash. He could have been sent home. They figured out a way to make it work, but make sure you know how you're going to pay for the event. If you need to pay tolls on the way, do you have money for tolls, or make sure your Easy Pass is there? How about numbers? Some organizations require you to run numbers during the event, even for some track days, because they want to be able to identify you or have corner workers call in to say what a great job you're doing or black flag that car. He just put 4 off. So make sure your car is identifiable if it needs to be for that. All right, so here are my final thoughts on putting together your packing list. Review your checklist. Make sure you have one. Update it as your season goes on, because you're going to find out there's more things you want to take, or maybe even less things. So update that. I can't talk about it enough. Plan early, plan often, and execute that plan. You're going to have a much better day than if you're scrambling the night before trying to figure out where things are. Maybe something was left at your office. Maybe something was left at your shop. Do it, but way before the event. It'll be such a smooth day. I want to wrap up this episode by talking about a wet weather practice day that we just had. So if you go to our socials, on Instagram, Facebook, or even YouTube, I uploaded a video that I recorded at Mid-Ohio. It was a very rainy and cold Mid-Ohio event. And it got me thinking, why do so many people cancel a track day when it's wet? They shouldn't. We all need seat time, whether it's wet seat time, dry seat time. Go to the event. Also, you're going to learn what's not working on your car when it's wet. Last thing you want to do is show up to your competition and realize, shoot, my wipers don't work quite like I need to. My front window defogger doesn't work like it needs to. And that's exactly what happened to us. We took one of the Radiator Racing Neons to Mid-Ohio to shake it down. As I mentioned, it was wet. And guess what happened? The inside of our windshield fogged up. And we realized that while we have a switch for a blower motor, there is no blower motor. I'm glad we learned it at a test day and not at a event or race, because I would have had some upset drivers and some upset sponsors. So anyways, the point I'm trying to make is when we attend events that are kind of outside the norm of the weather we're looking for, we learn a lot. You're going to learn the tire pressures you're going to need to set your car at. If you have the ability to change your suspension settings, you can do that. If you need a new wiper blade, you're going to figure that out as well. The other part of it is, what sort of gear do you need in the wet? Do you want a rain jacket? Do you want to take different shoes or boots when it's wet? Attending a wet weather event helps get you there. So we learned a lot. I hope me sharing that helps you get ready for your next wet weather event as well. So I'm going to wrap up. And I just want to say thanks for being a listener. It's great to have you along here, listening to everyone's motorsports journey. I do have a couple of requests. Tell a friend about our industry. Drag them to the next event. Have them be your pit stop guy, or just taking some data for you. Let's get more people involved in grassroots racing. And also tell some friends about the show. Let's spread the word. Let's grow our sport. When there's more people at the track, we have a great time. And I'd like to hear about your motorsports journey. So connect with me on our Instagram account or Facebook. It's at Late to Grid. Heck, you can send me an email to bill@atomicautosports.com. I'd like to hear what you're up to and what you're racing and where you're going with your motorsports journey. And one last thing, don't be late to grid.